so nice to know you lately. Before I go into the rest of the slide presentation, I want to do a little something else here, just for novelty, and that is I want to pick on some unsuspecting person sitting right up here near the front and ask them a question. Here's unsuspecting person in the front.
Thank you. Thank you.
Could you tell us your name?
I'm Dan.
Dan, can you tell me, identify what that is you have in your hands, and hold it up so the audience can see.
It's a big bag of M&Ms.
Well,
Sharing is caring.
that may look like a big bag of M&Ms to Mr. Dan over here, my partner, but it means more than that to me, because that package of M&Ms was the first product that I bought with a mobile application on an iPhone, and I did it yesterday afternoon just to make sure these things work. Now, I will tell you that iPhone application for mobile purchasing just came out in the last 3 weeks, and the Android fans here in the room will say, good gracious, we've been doing that for 3 years, because that's been possible with Android phones, is to do mobile purchasing for 3 years. But having a few people will say that, I would guess that 90% of the people in the room have absolutely no idea what we're talking about, and haven't tried this stuff, may have seen a headline, but don't have a clue as to how or when it's going to affect them. Well, the reason it's going to affect you is because we all are accustomed to dealing with this kind of massive collection. And what's the problem with that collection? It's pretty simple. There are people all over, from Eastern Europe to Eastern Pittsburgh, trying to steal your credit card information and rob you blind, and they're doing it sitting at their desk or on their living room couch in their pajamas, and they can do it from there. And if you don't believe me, you just have to go back and check the headlines from recent weeks when we saw that Home Depot lost 56 million credit cards, and we also see that other companies that we are very familiar with, including our own Target right here in town, who started this craze about a year ago of big thefts, and including UPS, Goodwill, P.F. Chang's, Sally's, etc., have all lost millions of dollars through credit card theft. And the big question is, whose company wants to be down there in the lower right-hand corner? Your name goes here, just lost 50 million credit cards. Front page of the Wall Street Journal. Can you imagine you'd like to be in that position and have to see what happens to your profits and your jobs and your reputation of a company for doing that? That's the reason we all want to get rid of credit cards. And what will we replace them with? Well, there are multiple new ways to pay. And this will cause some of the confusion for most of us. There's Google Wallet, Apple Pay, Currency, PayPal, SoftCard, Starbucks, and probably 2 or 3 more pages just like this of information about alternate ways to pay. But for right now, what I want you to do is watch these 3. Google Wallet, Apple Pay, and Currency. How many people have heard of Currency? Okay, we've got a few that are out there in the front, ready to go. When I did mention, with Dan's help, the M&M purchase, I want to show you how that works. Again, that was with an iPhone, which is what I use for many things. I was going to use the iPhone today to do this presentation, but I've loaned it to my guest, Lisa, who's making a video of this little talk, so I had to go back and use the old-fashioned way, the iPad. And a big, clumsy iPad. So this is how I purchased. Went to Walgreens over in St. Anthony Village. I walked up with my package of M&Ms. I said to the woman, has anybody ever used an iPhone here to buy something? And she said, I think so, but I don't know what they did. I did what you're supposed to do. She rang up the M&M purchase. I held my iPhone just like this picture. I held my iPhone next to the reader, the credit card reader, put my finger on the fingerprint recognition button, and it wiggled, vibrated, and said beep, and I walked out the store. That's the purchasing process. Nothing to review, nothing to sign, nothing to accept, nothing to verify. You hold a device near the reader, it records the transaction. One of the questions I had earlier from somebody in the room was, what about security? What if somebody steals my iPhone? This thing doesn't work without your thumbprint. So you have to steal my iPhone and my thumbprint. That's number 1. two, when I transmitted that information from the iPhone into that reader, no credit card information went in, no information about me went in, they have no idea who I was. All they got was an authorization to get that money from the credit card company without any identity of me or my credit card. So it's secure and private and obviously easy to use. The current issues are that the terminals all have to be replaced. They cost $200 to $500 to replace a credit card terminal. But good news is that was going to happen next year anyway, and I won't tell you why, but that was going to happen. There's a fight to determine the standards. As with any new technology, everybody wants to have it their way, and the big conflict is over loyalty cards, these rewards programs that we have. The new buzzword, the one that you want to remember to impress your friends, is NFC, Near Field Communication. That phrase is going to be as common as Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular, and GPS. Next year you're going to be saying NFC. Does your phone have NFC? And it'll say right in those credit card terminals, we accept NFC transactions. Every one of these things I mentioned on that slide are tiny little radios that are inside your tablets or your smartphones. Little radio transmitters. Some of them receive information from 800 miles up in the sky on a satellite. Some of them transmit information 2 inches to the credit card reader. That's all they are, is different radio transmissions. NFC is the short-range version. The good news is, hallelujah, Apple and Android are compatible in this regard, so there is not a fight between those two companies or between those two technologies. The second, and they both use NFC. The second good news is that everybody wants to get rid of credit cards, except, I suppose, the people who make little plastic cards. They're going to have a tough line of business. It's only a question right now of how. How do we get rid of these? What methods will we use? The big hurdle is the conflict over loyalty cards. Right now, if I give somebody my credit card, then all of a sudden they're hooked into my loyalty card. They know who I am. They know when I bought a toothpaste. They know all this stuff about me. And the point is, retailers want the loyalty cards. They want the credit cards for loyalty card purposes, but consumers not so much. Credit cards and loyalty cards are being split so that the thing that I do when I buy something with my phone involves only the purchase and only the transaction for money. The loyalty card's going to be separated out, and there's a company called Thanks that I've mentioned here that has some products, some approach to this, but everybody's going to try and figure out how do we keep the loyalty cards but let people use secure purchases with mobile devices. So, with that in mind, the slides that I just showed are on my newsletter that I just published 2 days ago. Anybody who wants a copy of the slides, let me know. I can send you the newsletter. I can put you on the newsletter mailing list if you want to. And there's some business cards over here if you need my email address. Last but not least, it's not a good opportunity to come up and speak right before a professional speaker is going to come up and say how to speak. So all I can do is ask Joan if she can at least be kind, and if she can't, she can use me as a bad example. So thank you very much.